Hello again, May update time. Main change is probably I can't do this very after filming the last update. It's yet another silver snow. Third one in the garden altogether. The second one is here, which is significantly less thriving looking than that one. I think this location gets a bit less sun. So I'm hoping that one stays somewhat in the condition it's currently in, but it may well degrade to look more like that, much less bright and sparkly. And the first snow in summer was in the side bed, but that gets even less sun, so it barely exists anymore. What else is going on? The periwinkles are all starting to join this one, which is already over the wall. Look, there's another one, and there's one all the way down there, and here. None of them are actually quite over the wall yet, but many of them are nearly. But I'm rushing now because my battery says it's about to run out. Just quickly show you the other main planting, which is this orange geum, which I also put in at the same time to liven up the side bed. So here's the new geum. Not actually that happy with it. It's a bit wishy-washy, the orange. I wish it was like a cultivar's called something Scarlet Tempest or something. I wish it was more scarlet. These ones on the other hand, you see, that's what I'm talking about. Really rich, deep, vivid colours. And the Alstroemeria, I'm not used to it not having flowers. Before last year it started flowering in like February. So this is the longest I've been without. So hopefully I'll be in full bloom soon. Now around here we have the geranium flowering, and I'm quite a fan of what's going on here with this epimedium. I'm not actually sure if that's supposed to happen or if it's a syndrome of bad health, but it looks pretty cool with this red patterning in the leaf. This chap, Dicentra, it's come up pretty nicely again for the year. The Tiarellas continue to exist as quite nice flowers, but completely laughable leaves. That one looks like that. This one looks like this. These flowers, look how wind beaten they are, and you can't even barely see a Tiarella leaf there. I should do some weeding really, give it a bit more light, but to be fair it was just rubbish before the weeds were even growing up here, so I can't really blame it on them. Anyway, what else do I need to show you? The thingamabob, clem, is growing way up beyond the height of the shed already, so that's cool. The honeysuckle is also starting to come up with some new goods. So I decided that I really liked these forget-me-nots. The light blue of them contrasting with the deeper blue of the bugle. But I decided that when you look along the whole bed, although I've planted the forget-me-nots throughout, these ones were the only ones that really survived. The ones on the other end didn't work. So I thought, oh no, I'll go and buy some more to balance it out. The garden centre didn't have any more forget-me-nots, but they did have this thing which is related, same genus or what have you. It's called a brunnera, something like that. It's got very similar flowers but silvery leaves. But I put it down that end thinking it would fit really nicely with the silvery leaves of the snow in summer and the rose campion. So I thought I'd put it here, but it was just silver overload. And also I discovered this very much likes to be in the shade, whereas down the end is about as sunny as this garden gets, which admittedly is probably not sunny enough to struggle this plant, but it might be a bit of a waste of a spot for something that requires more sun, I thought. So I've put this down here, even though it's right next to the other forget-me-nots, which defeats the object of spreading that vibe throughout the bed. But I'm going to get some more forget-me-nots, and that'll solve that. My parents apparently have got an excess because they spread like wildfire, so they're gonna hive a few off and bring them up in a couple of weeks. So what we have here is Mexican fleabane, pink and white daisies, and what we don't have in this wall is Mexican fleabane, despite the fact I tried to seed it in there 3 times at least, 2-3 times I think, but yeah, a bit of it did manage to grow perfectly well here, and there's more of it all tangled up inside the lead wall. Almost confusingly looks like it's the same plant. I don't really want it here because it's pink and this bed is supposed to be blue, and I do want it there, but it never worked. So what I've done is here there's another little shoot of it just growing up next to the main one that's you can still see there. You can't really see the hole, but I dug it out with a knife, and here it is. So I'm going to stick this in the wall, see if that grows any better than the seed does. So there you go, I've packed a load of soil into the crack around it, and the sun's hopefully glimmering out onto the leaves of it just to give it a kickstart in its new home. So hopefully that'll catch on. This one, hopefully, being a bit bigger, will have better sort of established roots. If I can transplant it all, the question is whether I can excavate that from that slot with all of its roots as one big chunk of mud and roots, and not accidentally just slice through the roots. We'll see. But the way I'm thinking about it is, even if this whole thing dies, there's loads of it established here, so these will probably self-seed into here yet again, and I can keep doing it every year until it works. So this is what I've managed to chisel out. That will have to do. So there you go. So here's that transplanted fleabane a couple of days later. Hasn't died yet, as far as I can see. The other smaller piece is here, and that also doesn't seem to have actually died yet, which is a good start, I suppose. They both seem to look very unhappy quite quickly if it doesn't rain. Believe it or not, it's all nice sunshine now, but it's been raining for most of last week. but there was a couple of days where it didn't rain and they started looking really sad. And I tipped some water onto the wall. So I'm a bit worried that there's enough moisture retention in this wall. But we will just have to wait and see. Where's that interesting looking insect? There. I wish I had a 300mm lens. The other interesting thing I finally want to throw into this video is that I was out here without my camera sadly, I only had my phone, and I saw feeding on this wallflower a hummingbird hawk-moth. Managed to grab some very poor footage of it on my phone. Quite a remarkable creature. Okay, so the very last, final thing I'll squeeze into this video is this clam, which seems to be just about on the brink of flowering. Although, to be fair, it's been on the brink for weeks. Soon, hopefully.